In this video, we are going to be talking about why individuals decide to leave the world of banking and finance. What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Afzal Hussain. You can find out a bit more about me through the social media links below, or you can check out my website, which is www.afzalhussain.com. For those of you that have started the new academic year, I hope you are in the academic institutions that you were most wanting to go to. If not, it's not the end of the world. Remember, wherever you study is only a small fraction of what will get you into the best jobs out there. What's important is between now and the summer, you make sure you try and get as much work experience as you can, and whether that's insight weeks, insight days, internships, or voluntary experiences, or extracurricular activities. Remember, don't just be a part or be a member of a society. Take on an active leadership position, and that will give you more to talk about in your CV. Anyway, let's get straight into the video, because I want to talk to you about why people leave the world of investment banking, finance, asset management, private equity, corporate finance, whatever it might be, why some people leave after a few years. So let's get straight into it. First and foremost, oftentimes a lot of individuals decide to leave the industry because they realize, there's more to life than money. Now, as cliche as that might sound, a lot of individuals spend the first few years, or even the first 5 to 10 years or more in this industry, and then they realize, I'm working too hard, I'm burning myself out, I'm earning a lot of money but I don't have time to spend it, or I'm earning a lot of money but it means I have to spend a lot of my working hours or my awake hours of the day at work, and so it means I'm not at home spending time with family and friends. I don't get to see my kids grow up. One thing, a lot of you, when you join the world of banking and finance, you're going to see a lot of your seniors, they're going to have kids, and a lot of their kids are looked after by nannies. So one thing that's very popular in the industry is, people have nannies to look after their kids, to go pick up their kids from school, to drop them off to school. And I remember someone said to me once, the last thing I want is when I see my kid and my kid goes and runs to the nanny instead of me as a father or a mother. And I mean, I totally get that resonates, it makes sense. And so one of the main reasons people leave the industry is because after a few years they make their money, they want a more relaxed lifestyle, and so they go into different industries. They leave the field of banking and finance because it takes up a lot of time. The money's great, but people's priorities in life tend to change, and they might prioritize their relationships more, or whatever else it might be. And so they're willing to take that sacrifice and alternate accordingly to their priorities. So that's reason number one. Now, oftentimes each different investment bank has a different culture, just like different industries have different cultures in the organizations. So the culture at Goldman Sachs, it might be very different to the culture at JP Morgan. That culture might be very different to the culture at Citigroup and Barclays and Rothschild, and so on and so forth. And oftentimes individuals might get sick of the culture at their organization. They might think, there's too much politics within that organization. There'll be politics wherever you go, whichever industry you're in. But oftentimes you might be one individual in a company and you might clearly see a lot of backstabbing, or a lot of individuals who are playing the game, and it's kind of just getting in the way of your career, or you just don't have time for it, or you just don't like the way that company doesn't appreciate flexible working, or it doesn't appreciate or recognize you for the work you're doing. It favors other people who cheat the system. Whatever it might be, the firm's culture can be a big reason as to why a lot of individuals decide to leave and go to other investment banks. So, not everyone is leaving and going to different industries and doing different things. A lot of people leave organizations and stay in the industry but join different organizations. Another reason why someone might leave an investment bank and join another investment bank is because they might have got headhunted, or a better opportunity might have arisen at a next investment bank. So they might be given more responsibility, more pay, better work-life balance opportunity, whatever it might be. When you start climbing within an investment bank, more of your pay becomes locked up and given to you in the form of stock in that company. So for example, if you're an analyst or an associate, you get all your salary and your bonus for the most part in cash, so that comes straight into your account. But when you become a VP and a managing director, a larger percentage of your salary and your bonus is given as a stock in that company. However, you can only touch those shares after you do 2 or 3 more years. So once you do those 2 or 3 more years, you get more shares, and those are locked up for another 2-3 years. So a lot of individuals, before they get to that senior level, they don't want to fall into that trap. So a lot of individuals decide to leave because they're never going to vest those shares, i.e. get a payout from those shares. If they were to, they would have to stay for another 3 or 4 years, and people don't really have the patience for that if they're considering moving to a different industry or another opportunity has arisen. And so a lot of people leave the world of banking and finance in order to avoid that trap, because it means it locks up a large portion of their salary in shares. The reason banks do it is to keep the individuals or their employees incentivized to stay at that company so they don't leave, and if they do leave, then they lose out on their salary. Oftentimes you will hear individuals leave to go to different types of finance companies, so hedge funds and private equity firms. That might be more common for individuals early on in their career or really late on in the career. And the reason for that is a lot of individuals come to banks, get 2 years experience, and then try and move into private equity or hedge funds. And the reason why it's common later on is because these senior individuals have a lot of skills, have a lot of good client relationships where they can use and leverage in order to build businesses in different companies. It's tricky for those in the middle because there's these hungry, motivated, cheap individuals at the bottom who companies like to hire, and then above them it's, you know, cream of the crop. Those are the people that make it rain, for lack of a better phrase. Oftentimes individuals are just bored, and so they are bored of finance, they're bored of banking, asset management, whatever it might be, and they need a new challenge. After all, the individuals in these industries are extremely bright and they need to be kept occupied, otherwise they'll get bored of their work and they'll feel like they need to leave. So when that happens, they go to tech companies like Google, Facebook, or even join small startups. And the reason for that is the culture is different. They might want more flexibility. The pay is great. Some individuals don't want to say they've spent their whole career at an investment bank. A lot of individuals want to do different things. And so say you have a passion in technology outside of your day-to-day working life, it might make sense for you to go and start working in a technology startup who are giving you a lot more responsibility than you have in your current job, and the pay is great and the work-life balance is great, and so all the boxes are ticked for you, and so it makes sense for you to go and join that company as opposed to stay as part of this big corporation and be just a small cog within that organization, compared to joining a small startup where you will have more weight in your decisions and you play a bigger role as part of the success of that company. Second last reason why individuals tend to leave the world of banking and finance or tend to leave an investment bank is because they might be interested in starting their own company. So oftentimes individuals at banks are really bright and they have really great ideas and they've got lots of money, and they think, if I quit this job here and start my idea, maybe it can work out and it will be great and I'll grow this company. So many companies across the world, so many startups, so many tech companies, so many fintech companies have founders and CEOs who are ex-bankers. An example would be Deliveroo. The guy, or one of the guys that founded Deliveroo, he was an ex-Morgan Stanley investment banker. And it's very common because these are individuals who like to tackle complex problems. And so when you as an individual experience a problem and you think, you know what, I've got the brains and I've got the capital, or I can raise the capital to tackle this problem, you can quit your job because these jobs will always be there for the most part. Go and work on this startup, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, you'll just go back to your existing job or any other job in the city. So entrepreneurship is another route. And then last but not least, when individuals, or why individuals might leave the world of banking and finance, is because they've made so much money that they can retire. So oftentimes you won't see many individuals above the age of 50, 55 because they would have retired by then. Some bankers retire by 40, 45, some sooner rather than later. But oftentimes people stay as long as they can because they enjoy it, and then when they get bored or when they see it's not bringing them as much fulfillment or excitement as it used to, then that's when people tend to retire. They take on leadership positions on boards, or executive positions or non-executive positions on boards, and that's another reason why they leave the world of banking and finance. Hopefully this has been insightful and interesting to you. If you have enjoyed or learned anything from this video, it would mean a lot to me if you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you have, turn on the post notifications so you never miss an upload, and leave a comment below with any video suggestions or questions, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace. One last thing before we go, almost forgot. It's September, the academic year has started, which can only mean my UK university tour is back. So starting next week actually, I will be visiting universities across the UK throughout the next few months, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, talking to them about how to ace internships or how to secure internships, how to ace your interviews, how to construct a cover letter, a CV, everything that you need in order to secure Insight Week's internships, interviews, all of that. So if you are interested, drop me an email on info@afsalhussein.com and hopefully I will see you at your university. Peace.